10.
Plan 9.
8.
7.
6 shots.
5.
Quattro.
We are the three. Amigos. 2 more mother humpers.
One ring to rule them all.
Let's rock!
All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to Brewing Film Live. Today's episode is, like all of them, very special, of course, and we're talking about What About Bob? And I got William Shakespeare here with me today. Good morning there, or good, I guess it's evening where you are.
We have afternoon here where I am on the Pacific Coast, United States. How about you for a minute? It's got to be evening for you, right?
I know it's 6 a.m. in the morning here, and the next day.
Oh, oh my gosh! All right, early riser, right on.
I know. It's that's the fun thing, always dealing with these time zones. But we'll work through that. And my voice today is, of course, incredibly hoarse. So I'm a little bit of a pony, and that's because I've been having a cold the last couple of weeks. But don't worry, I got myself a nice cup of water here, and I'll be, sipping on it just like a classic old days radio. Well, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice, and our special guest is William Shakespeare. Yeah, and we're talking about What About Bob? Classic comedy, 1991. Of course, starring Bill Murray and William Shakespeare, your favorite actor. I'll let you introduce him.
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say he's my favorite. I wouldn't say he's my favorite actor, but I do really like his work a lot. I'm not sure who my favorite actor would be. That'd be actually pretty tough. But I did think it was appropriate that we give him a lot of credit for his work, given the ruse and the news that had come out about him, which I'd looked into, and I thought it was all a bunch of nonsense. So,
Oh yeah,
I thought this was very fitting that we take a look at some of his films and say this is the man behind some of the best magical films we've ever had.
Oh yeah, no, his career is amazing and stuff, and unfortunately, he became, as you said, like a bit of a target recently. Anyone that steps out of line in Hollywood gets taken down pretty hard these days. And this is our way just to show a little appreciation of all the great work he's done. And if you ask me, it's my show, so you better ask me that actually this is my favorite movie of his ever that
Nice.
Richard Dreyfuss has done. His performance here, he is actually an amazing comedian. His timing as the straight man in this is so great, and it plays off of Bill Murray so well. Which is hilarious because as we were chatting a little bit beforehand, they absolutely hate each other, and they've never spoken to each other since this film wrapped. So
Right.
this is a little bit of kind of like a reality bleeding from the art or something. Like it's kind of, in the end, I'll say, you know what? I think it might have helped the film because you can really feel the tension between the two of them, and it's beautiful.
I think it did, absolutely. Even the background notes on the thing say that Bill Murray, Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss both recognized that they didn't get along. They were both aware of that consciously, and Richard Dreyfuss actually told Bill to go ahead and annoy him, and so Bill pressed that issue. And as we see in an interview I saw and posted you a little clip of, is that Bill Murray said that the script wasn't even annoying enough. He said he could be even more annoying than the script. So he proceeded to ad lib a lot of the script or certain sections of it for sure, as we know that's kind of his signature behavior. So once again, Bill Murray at his finest, and I thought really. As I rewatched it just this week, I just thought this is Bill Murray on dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
it's all the classic that we know from him from things like Ghostbusters and Scrooged. I love him in Scrooged, absolutely. But
Scrooge is a great one too.
right,
Yeah, like this is 100%. This is peak Murray.
he is
And
Peak Murray. Yep,
this was like the very end of his peak too, I believe.
I think you're right.
Because got lots of great films throughout the 80s, of course. Stripes, Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
Groundhog Day,
yeah,
all these
Groundhog
fantastic
Days.
films.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah,
then What About Bob? And I think after this though, he started doing like the weird kid movies, like with the Operation Dumbo Drop and stuff like that. Yeah, so this was like the peak before he fell off the cliff, kind of. And
yeah,
this is it's just great, and the supporting cast is fun too in this movie, and we'll get into the supporting cast in a second. But let's get the general stats here for What About Bob. All right, there we go. So 1991 comedy, good, perfect timing. This movie sails by. You're watching this movie, no
yes,
pun intended, for the sailing scene, and I was just like, usually when I'm like reviewing movies, especially movies I've seen like 100 times before, and this is one of them. You're kind of going through it, and you'll check the time code sometime, and you're like, okay, still got over half to go. I got other stuff to do. I got to take care of my kids. This movie, I last night just rewatching it again, and I just look at the time. I'm like, what? It's only 10 minutes left, like 15 minutes left. I can't believe it. Like this movie's just
yeah,
flew by. It's such an easy watch, and it's so
yeah,
fun. And it definitely it's interesting because like we're talking about Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day, and those all have like really heavy followings, big notorieties. This movie does not have a large enough following that it deserves.
right.
I know it's not talked enough. Oh, and we got Cannoli Sasquatch there. Well, hello, thank you very much. So rewatchable. Yes, I know. I've rewatched this movie like 100 times, and it never gets old, and it never gets like drawn out. Like it's just such a fun, easy watch.
Yeah, and I thought too. I want to go back and actually watch it again in a couple of days because I was laughing so hard so many times. I already had to pause it just to go back and catch what I missed because I'm laughing too hard, and the movie keeps going. There are so many one-liners and subtle jokes in this thing. I mean, this thing is especially the first half is just beginning to the first half is just filled with all kinds of subtlety all over the place.
I know. And hello there, Miss Clank Madman. Been a long while since I've watched this film. Well, you got your plan for tonight. I say you got to watch this movie. It is brilliant. It is hilarious. And yes, William, exactly. This film, the details are amazing, and that's what I was really noticing on the rewatch this time too. There's so many little subtle details, things that you've
Yes.
never noticed, even if you watched it like 30 times. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my god, I never noticed that. Like,
Right.
I don't know how I missed it, but this time I noticed that he's always wearing like a medical bracelet from a hospital,
I
right?
didn't
And I was
see
like, yeah, he is. And Bob's always got a medical bracelet on. I'm like, that's of course he does,
That's of
right?
course he
Like,
does, right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like that's such a great little detail. And there's like those are like all throughout the film, all these little character details, even stuff like Richard Dreyfuss's character, Dr. Leo Marvin. He's a tight ass, and like his clothes, all his clothes, especially his shorts, are so tight.
Yeah, right.
They're so tight, and that really helps give him that
Yeah.
uptight
Yes,
feeling.
it
And he's got
does.
the long tube socks on with his
Yeah,
sandals, and it's
right.
so
He's such a
perfect.
He's such a tourist.
Yes, he's such a
He's
tourist. And then Bob comes in, and his clothes are just so casual, and he just blends right in when he gets into town. And I just love that so
Yeah.
much.
I know that scene of him when he's in the Dreyfuss when he's at the vacation home and you see him for the first time in those pants and they're just running right up his butt and it just looks hilarious. It's so
Oh,
ridiculous.
riding right up the crack. It's
Yeah,
so
right
great.
up there, man. It's just jammed. It's like it's like they said cut, and they went over to him and just hiked him up even more and said,
Yes,
"Okay,
yes.
roll."
And maybe that's why he was so cranky on set. Yeah, I would be too without riding up my ass.
And we've heard this before that Bill Murray is tough to work with. He's I mean that's his reputation.
Yeah.
But I think this is the good and the bad of the type of personality it takes in Hollywood to deliver this kind of comedy and just to deliver this kind of entertainment is that you're not going to get some well-rounded person to come in here and deliver this kind of shtick time after time. That there's always going to be a trade-off in what it takes to be that kind of a person, deliver it like that. When I was watching the thing, I just thought, some of these lines are just hilarious, but it's because the way Murray delivering them, and then, or in the case of Dreyfuss, just the way he looks. Right, he'll just give you an expression, you just go, "Oh my God, it's iconic right there, and it's hilarious." But somebody else would have just wrecked it if they would have tried it. The line would have fell flat.
The greatest laugh, Richard Dreyfuss's Dr. Leo Marvin's laugh.
Yeah, right.
Such a wiener.
When he's
Such a wiener laugh, and it's so perfect.
But
and he's so in love with himself.
Yeah, that reminds me of I did not put that one on my list though. But when he drops off Bob at the funny farm on the island on the vacation in the, I don't know, I call it the Hamptons. I forget actually where it was now.
Oh, it was and I think it was in New Hampshire, right?
New Hampshire, that's it. Right? I call it the Hamptons.
Lake Pennsauken or something like that. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. He drops him off. He drops Bob off at the funny farm there, and he's just got that creepy laugh as he's driving all the way home. Thinking he's free. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free.
That whole sequence is one of the funniest sequences ever, and it's actually in my list because we're both going to go over our top 5 like gags sequences in this movie, and that's one's on there because I love it so much. It's so perfectly done.
Right.
And we got to point out here, directed by Frank Oz, and this is like such a fantastic film. Frank Oz, of course, is better known for stuff like The Dark Crystal, but yeah, and what a great film. I got the base of his filmography here. So he's got The Dark Crystal, everyone knows that. The Muppets Take Manhattan, Little Shop of Horrors, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and then What About Bob? And for me, I love The Dark Crystal, and I love Little Shop of Horrors. I'd say The Dark Crystal, Little Shop, and this film are his 3 best, hands down.
And Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, that film is absolutely brilliant.
That's a great one too, yeah.
You got to see that. That, again, 2 masters of comedy just coming together. They probably don't like each other either. But that one is excellent. I didn't realize that Frank Oz did this. Well, Frank Oz, I mean, he did Yoda, did he not?
Well, yeah, he is Yoda.
Yeah.
Of course, Frank Oz is more known for his puppetry and stuff, right? And his voice acting.
Right.
But he actually has quite an impressive director filmography as well, which is surprising. The Indian to Cover, I'm surprised he did that one. And Bowfinger there. Bowfinger's fun too. So yeah, he's a darn good comedic film director. But I'd say for comedy, this is probably his best work because I absolutely love this film. And there's the cast. We got Bill Murray as Bob Wiley, Richard Dreyfuss, Dr. Leo Marvin. And then you got Julie Haggerty, and she was perfect as his wife. Like she's so the opposite of Leo Marvin. She's so soft and kind, and and she's, of course, you might know her. She was in Airplane.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, and she's great in Airplane as well. Yeah. And then she's done tons of guest work on like so many shows, lots of voice work too, like everything from like Family Guy and stuff. And yeah, so she's great too. So the 3 of them are kind of the main cast, I'd say, by far most screen time.
Right.
And then you also got the kids, and the kids nail it in this too. Usually the kids annoy me,
right?
But not this time.
I totally agree. I thought the whole family was cast very well, individually and as a unit. It was perfect, and I agree. The kids were especially Charlie as or Siggy, Siegfried. His name was Siegfried.
I love that Siegfried.
Come on, what a name, man. That's just cruel. And
Sigmund,
Sigmund or Siegfried.
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund, right, exactly. And in this day and age, that's a little bit cruel, but the kid did really well. I thought they were fantastic for his role. And the girl, the teenage girl, Anna, she did great too. Her scenes with Bob alone. There's a funny scene in there that I love when Well, I don't. I mean, we could sit here talk about scenes all day long, but they've got some great scenes together that I just thought were precious.
I think you're gonna talk about the hand puppets, which I absolutely love that scene.
We'll get to the hand puppets. I was thinking of the different one when he's Bill Murray, what like I don't know, the second or third time he got kicked out of the house. I lost count. And he's walking down the road, right? He doesn't even know where he's going. He's just leaving their house. She comes rolling along in their Jeep, their Wrangler, whatever it was, their truck. And where are you going? And so he gives him a ride, and he gets in, and he says, "So it must be really great, your dad being a top psychologist, and he's sleeping in the room right next to you, and whenever
There's a genius in the bed.
How does that feel?" And she goes, "It's not so great. I've got problems just like anyone, just like you." And he's like, "Oh, like you're afraid your bladder is going to explode?"
Yeah, I love this.
These massive tangents like that.
All his phobias and stuff. Same thing with with the son when he's like using the spare bed in the son's room, and they're just like, oh, that I love that. And the son starts talking. Yeah. The son starts talking about his phobias, like his fear of death and stuff. And oh no, it's great because there's just so many like subtle scenes of like his growth, and like where Bob's going from less of a patient and more of actually almost like a psychiatrist himself, helping people. Yeah.
And he's being, that's a good point. I actually did want to bring that up too. There are subtle scenes dropped all throughout the film where he's actually being cured. Starting with the first one that I really noticed was that very scene I just mentioned. When he goes to get in the car, he's got his handkerchief out, and he starts to rub on the handle. Then he stops. He says, "Who uses this car?" And she says, "It's just us." And then he puts it away, and he just uses his hand. And that was like a little breakthrough for him. And then later on, it might have been in the scene that you were just mentioning when he's with Sigmund, Siggy, and they go to sleep, and I don't remember if it was that scene or another scene, but anyway, he's going to sleep, and he finds his handkerchief in his pocket, and he pulls it out and he puts it down away from him.
Yeah,
and
puts it away from him.
Yeah, and I thought, wow, look at this. I mean, he actually is being cured throughout the film.
Yeah. He's socializing. He's gotten out of the city, and he's actually like improving. And I really noticed it's after he did his sailing scene where he's like tied to the staff. Sigmund's on the dock trying to learn how to dive, and it's super subtle this time. But he walks out on the dock and he talks with Sigmund for about 30 seconds or so. And then he realizes he's around water and gets phobic. But the thing is, it's like he actually made it out on the dock and was talking before he even realized it. And so it shows that before he wouldn't be able to go out at all, right? So
And once he does realize it, then he starts grabbing onto things like poles and stuff. And when Siggy wants to do the dive, Siggy says, "I'm going to do the dive." He's like, "You better not. Don't do it." And he's grabbing onto the pole and grabbing onto Siggy's shirt. He's afraid for his own life. He's standing on the dock. And Siggy is the one that's really got the phobia of doing the dive. So,
and then of course, son does his first dive ever, and then Dr. Leo Marvin, out of jealousy, pushes Bob into the water. He's such a turd. And then what I love is the apology afterwards. And for me, this is one of the greatest, just physical, like I gotta call it physical comedy because it's just using gestures. Gesture comedy, the best gesture comedy ever. The world's best apology. Here we go.
All right. I'll apologize to Bob.
I love that.
I had that on my list. I had that on my notes too. That's his puppy dog look when he's
goes over
back at him. Yeah, Bob's looking back at him. That little, and his hands are over there, hanging over the shower, and he's like,
just gives. Dr. Limon just stares at him, just gives him the little with the eyebrows. Okay, don't worry about it. It's kind of funny because I remember I was watching this movie long time ago with an old girlfriend, Japanese girlfriend, and that made her burst out laughing. I'm like, there we go. That joke crosses cultures right there. It's so beautifully done. Everyone knows the the classic guy apology where it's like you're so stubborn, you just can't bring yourself up to say it. Just okay.
Yeah, that and just the way he just delivers that, it's that's amazing. You know, I mean, to have to think about how there's so many ways you could do that from Dreyfuss's point of view.
Yeah.
That or a person or that other people might take that scene, right? But oh boy, you could see the spite inside of him, you know, just fuming out of his ears.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So yeah, so we'll just kind of quickly skim through the film here. At the start here, one thing I noted is, of course, Bob is working from home.
Yes.
So I thought, oh man, Bob fits right in with current days. He was ahead of his time.
Right.
He's
Yeah,
afraid,
yes.
he's afraid to leave the house and just
Yes.
wants to work from home. Good job, Bob. You were a trendsetter. Oh yeah, then the sequence of him just trying to make it to the doctor's office is so great. And then we're introduced to Dr. Leo. Oh,
yeah.
I love this. This is
guy.
obviously Bob's prior.
Like, I'm out of here.
I'm out. I'm free. But what I love about this is it not only does it set up that like obviously like you want to escape from Bob, but it sets up also Dr. Leo Marvin, like how you can manipulate Leo, because this guy 100% uses Leo's ego against him. And he's saying, oh no, I just think he needs someone like brilliant, someone like you, right? And of course,
right, totally, yeah, he's totally selling it to him big time.
Yeah, and of course, like Leo, and it's like, oh, and in your book, oh, good job. And of course, that butters Leo up. He's like, oh, okay, I'll fit him in then, right?
Right.
Oh, it's just so perfect. Dr. Leo Marvin.
There's a scene coming. Yeah, the scene coming up with Leo gives the book to Bob too. That was so funny. There's a book out there. Well, there's a whole freaking row of them.
The whole shelf of them. Yeah. So this is a great scene we're talking over with Bob, and we're gonna bring this up later with our top 5, I believe. And then, yeah, there it is. There's
a book out there somewhere. What was that book?
So great. Oh man, he's got like 20 copies of his own book, and I love how he's like pretending to look for it. Oh, here it is. Baby steps. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
I almost want to get that book as a gag gift for someone. Hopefully they sell Baby Steps somewhere.
Well, you could certainly try to make the cover. That wouldn't be too hard.
No.
Right? That'd be hilarious. That's great. And you know, I thought that would be good too. The idea of the theme for the audience is baby steps. Everyone, if you need to get something done, baby steps.
Baby steps, yes. Or maybe we should make a book for that, for current writers and producers at Disney. Baby steps. This is how you make a good film. Baby steps. Come, we'll check this out.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to start off with saying, "There's a book out there for you clowns. What's it called?" And then throw it at them. Just pick it up and hug it right at their heads.
You have to start with a character. Now, think about a character that you might like.
Right.
That you might care about.
Think about a story that doesn't suck.
Yeah. Baby steps. Come on, you can do it.
Right, baby steps. Start with physics, real physics. Go from there.
And this also shows here, because the time code, we're already at 12 minutes, but this opening sequence does not feel like a 12-minute sequence. No. It feels like in my memory, I'm like, oh, the first 3 minutes we introduce the characters, it's in the office, and then we're on the lake. But it's like, no, the first, we're up to 15 minutes, they haven't left the city yet. But pacing is just so amazing.
We've only had, I think, 2 total scenes, basically, him in the apartment and Dr. Marvin in his office by that point.
Yeah. Oh,
15 minutes for 2 scenes.
Here. Do you see his medical bracelet?
Yeah, that's right. That thing was there the whole time. He always had that on.
Whole movie. Yeah, and then on his walls too. Like if you look at his apartment, there's like all these like medical posters and like step 1, step 2, this and that, and it's so funny.
Oh man, his phobia list. I want to go back and write down his phobia list. I should have done that.
Oh yeah, it's a great line. It's a great monologue. And then of course Neil Diamond.
Yeah, Neil. I know. I love that. I put that. That's in my list. There are 2 types of people in the world: those who like Neil Diamond and those who don't. And that's how he separates people.
To be honest, it works. It works really well. Red and blue. No. It's diamond or no diamond.
Yeah, diamond or no diamond.
I know where you're at. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. I mean, I love Neil Diamond. Who really can't, in my opinion. I mean, the guy's a brilliant songwriter. But so I don't know.
Well,
That's just funny.
Oh, I wonder if this is where Saving Silverman got. Have you ever seen Saving Silverman?
Is that Sarah Silverman's show? Is that her show?
No.
Okay. I guess
Saving
not.
Silverman had Amanda Peet in it. Had Amanda Peet, and it had I think Jack Black is in it. Yeah, Jack back when he was really funny in the 90s.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, and I forget the other comedian's name. He was kind of popular in the 90s and early 2000s, but I think he kind of faded away after that. But it's a really good movie. It's really funny. But there's a whole thing around Neil Diamond, and his new wife hates Neil Diamond and forces him to burn all his Neil Diamond records.
Oh,
and I wonder if they got the influence for that from this movie, from just that line, but the Neil Diamond.
Yeah, so this movie came out before that one then.
Yeah, it came out good.
Yeah, okay.
Good 8 years before, so.
Oh, okay. It's a funny line. I thought it was funny. I thought it was I think I put it on my list, in fact.
And then I love this here. He's such a dick. Bob, of course, fakes his death in order and then pretends to be the police in order to get the information for his house.
Oh, it was awesome.
And it is classic psychiatrist doctor. Oh, well, that's too bad. Well, it's not going to ruin my vacation.
Yeah.
Right back to bed.
Right. Yeah.
And then, this whole sequence getting on the bus, like it's like you really see like how phobic he is here and how much effort it takes him to make it there.
And she calls him by name too. So so Bob is already presented himself to her. I'm Bob, whatever he would say. Hi, I'm Bob. I'm supposed to be on this bus, but I can't quite get on. I'm trying. She says something like, "Come on, Bob. We don't have all day." Or
that's the writing and directing that makes it so much funnier because, exactly. In your mind, you already know this has been going on for probably like 20 minutes already, right? Like she noticed so much about him already. And
she finally says to him, "This is the last bus to Winnipeg or wherever they're going, Bob."
Like,
she's like that.
Winnesaca or whatever it is.
Winnesaca. This is the last bus to Winnesaca, Bob.
Oh, and then he's just on the bus. False alarm. Right. Keeps pretending to throw up.
He tells the guy, "Would you do me a favor and punch me out?" He tells him to sit passenger next to him.
And he's got his fish. I love his pet fish.
You're right. Strapped around his neck, Gil. And that right away, I first, of course, I thought about Gil Bavel as soon as he said that. And then about 3 minutes later, it sunk in why the fish's name was Gil. And just, again, the brilliance of the writing there. And then having him strapped to his neck the whole time.
Oh, it's just so fun. It's just a cute little addition to add to Bob, and a little bit of charm to add to his character. And that's what's great about Bill Murray's performance in this is he walks the line between annoying, like obviously he's a very obsessive personality, right? Annoying, but also charming and sweet.
Right. And codependent.
And codependent. Yeah. And he balances it just perfect where it's like the more you see Bob, the more you like him, the more you get on Bob's side, right? But at the same time, as much as Dr. Leo Marvin is a turd, for lack of a better term, you also do still sympathize with him because we've all been there where, especially on the TV interview, where you feel like it's your big moment and you want to shine, but someone just keeps outshining you and it drives you nuts, right?
Right.
There's someone that just keeps getting the attention. Like classic thing might be like, especially when you're younger, if you like a girl or something, but she likes your friend, right? Like, God damn it, right? Like that feeling.
He just keeps getting upstaged by this guy that he just thinks is the bane of his existence.
Exactly.
It just gets worse and worse.
Drives him up the wall.
Yeah. Is this when he shows up and he's like, "Dr. Leo Marvin," just shouting at the top of his lungs.
Dr. Leo Marvin. Who's that? There's the family. Yeah. You gotta help me. Bill Murray. Oh my God, he's so rugged looking. He's been so rugged looking. his brothers, and there we go. There's Dr. Leo Marvin, who's like perfect. You see like how perfect his beard is and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Tight. Yep. Very manicured.
yeah. Oh, and that was like another little detail is like the day before or the morning of his TV interview, you can see little pieces of tissue all over his neck where he's cut himself shaving.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. His wife is trying to signal him to get it off. Get it off.
Yeah. Oh, he says, I'm gonna phone. He's like, meet me stay at the coffee shop at 4:00. Oh, you're gonna meet me? No, I'm gonna phone the coffee shop. He's not gonna come meet him.
Yeah, and he said the guy, somebody else uses the payphone. He's like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I need that. I'm expecting a call.
And then these guys here, the owner, I love. They hate Dr. Leo Marvin, so it's the first thing they do is they bring him up to his house.
We'll take you to where he lives.
Yeah, let's show you where he lives.
Leo Marvin bought the house. This couple had been saving for their whole life to buy that house, and Leo Marvin, as they said, Marvin swept in and bought it out from underneath them, and so
with his buckets of cash,
right,
bought it out.
The lady there kept on swearing things, and the guy would say, "She never says that."
I think she says like maybe like the most like actual swear words in the whole movie.
I think she does. Yeah, she has like 2 lines, and they're both completely cursing out Marvin.
So great.
And he looks at the cameras and she's never said. Or he looks at Bob and says, "She never says that."
Never says that. Yeah, so cute. There's Leo Marvin's tube socks. This is so awesome. He's such a tourist.
Yeah.
And there we go. There's the shorts.
There you go.
Wedged right up there.
That's
whenever you see that, whenever you see someone with a big wedgie, you have to ask them, are you hungry? And they'll say, what? Why? Because your ass is eating your shorts. And then like she's planning the surprise birthday party, so like everything's getting set up. Again, like really tight script, like all the setups and payoffs, everything is established early on. Nothing's just thrown at you, which is great.
Yeah, I didn't pick up. I saw when they were buying the groceries, and they seemed to be buying a ton of groceries. I thought that seemed to be a bit excessive, but I didn't. I completely didn't expect what happened there at the party coming. So that was really nice.
Yeah. No, there's all these hints about the party coming, and you'll pick them up when you watch it again. Of course, they drop Bob off at the house. Oh,
yeah, that's funny. We'll take it where he lives.
Let me take care of your fish. And and of course the family instantly starts to take a shine to Bob. Oh, and I love this. This is not more pills. No, not pills. I'm giving you a prescription to take a vacation from yourself, and then a vacation from your problems. And then I love that he has to say not from your job, not from your home, from your problems. It's like such a nothing thing to say from a doctor. Right. It's like what? Right.
It's not. And then Bob just completely embraces it. Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Everything is like, oh, why did I think about that? Oh, you're a miracle worker.
Yeah. He comes back later and says, "I'm on vacation from my problems."
And that's when he gets the greatest t-shirt of all time. Actually, I'm just going to show it right here, right now. I love this t-shirt. Let's see, where are we? Here. I want this t-shirt. Don't hassle me. I'm local. It's such a beautiful shirt. I want that shirt so bad. It's so big. It's so loud. It's so obnoxious. It's so his character. It's so perfect.
That's the What About Bob
Rod
shirt.
Thunderheart's here. Hey there,
nice.
Rod. Nice
Rod
to see
Thunderheart
you.
is here. Excellent. Yeah, that's a shirt.
And he says hail to William Shakespeare Spielberg as well. And hadn't seen this movie to my recollection. Oh, yet somehow it looks familiar. Oh, never mind. I have seen it. Okay, good. Well, Rod, I think you got to watch it again because this movie is a comedy classic. It is brilliant. It is hilarious. Definitely should be on your rewatch list.
Definitely. We can definitely get a shirt like that made. On the back, we've got to have some kind of maybe just says, "What about Bob?" or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're walking away, people will look at you when you're coming toward them and see this loud thing and go, "What the hell?" And as you're walking away, "What about Bob?"
Yes, it's the easiest cosplay you could ever do.
Yes,
Bob Wiley.
that's it. It has
You
to
just
be
got to get
huge.
it.
Has to be
But
huge though, just like this. It's got to be big.
has to be huge, like 2 sizes too big, and
Yes.
you have to have a medical bracelet on.
Yes. Yes.
You
And
got
tube socks. Got to have tube
you got your
socks.
What About Bob cosplay. Oh man. Oh, it's so great. I'm sure wouldn't be too hard to get that done.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it looks like they made it just for this scene.
I hope I hope is Planet Hollywood still around? Like any of them, or are those all
Boy.
gone now?
Yeah, I haven't seen one in a long time, so my guess is that they're gone, or they got bought up by, what's that rock and roll restaurant chain
Oh,
with the guitars
Hard
on?
Rock.
Hard Rock, yeah. Maybe I wonder if Hard Rock, yeah, because Planet Hollywood had a lot of props from movies, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so I was like, this would be a killer prop just to have hanging from the ceiling or something.
Right. Yeah, somebody must have bought that. I mean, I can't imagine that stuff would have just went off to auction. That would be crazy.
or maybe it's still in Bill Murray's closet. Hopefully, he wears it sometimes.
Right. Right.
Oh,
I
and
know,
here's
this is so insane. His
obsessing over the
narcissism.
interview.
Yeah.
And over analyzing every little thing, right?
Do we do it with the shotgun, or should we have it with the bust of was that a Sigmund Freud bust? That big old giant
Yeah.
iron bust you keep on pulling everywhere and putting it up.
I think it signals oh my, come on, my brain, not vitality or something like that. Is like
Oh, right. Yeah, I think you're right. Vitality. I think it says vitality. The daughter says that. I like it.
yeah.
I think it says vitality. I thought,
Oh yeah, this is when he realizes this is the scene you're talking about when he
yes, that's
gets picked up by the daughter, and this is a great scene. And the
It
kids,
is.
the amount of screen time the kids have is perfect. They have just enough to
Yes.
establish the characters and to have a bonding with Bob, so you believe it, that you believe they like him and they want him, they enjoy him having around. But they didn't have they didn't over focus on a side plot with them, which a lot of these
Right.
movies do, right?
Right.
Like she didn't have like a boyfriend romance
Right.
plot or something goofy like that, right?
Right. She did talk about a boyfriend though in that
She
scene.
did.
She
did,
did
but-
mention that. Like that's one of her phobias is what if you like
Yeah.
a guy and he doesn't like you and blah blah blah, and he just starts rattling off his crazy phobias.
Here he is sailing. He's just
Yeah,
tied to the
that's-
staff.
That's my favorite scene. I mean, you see that right there, and I know that was in the trailer. And then when it zooms out to see the full picture, which I certainly don't want to give that away. I mean, that's just I'm on the floor laughing. That's over the top right there. That whole thing, I forgot all about that. That
This
is-
sums up.
Yeah.
This sums up his character perfect, and it sums up. This is almost like a freaking example of like modern culture in general right now. Is this
yes.
it's so pandering.
Yes.
It's so pandering, and it's so juvenile, and it's so like he is a therapist, he's obviously like a very well established doctor, and he's obviously in the academic bubble. So everything is theory, right? Everything is, but it's not practical.
Right.
It's not practical, right? Like what he does is so like this isn't practical. This isn't real life, but he's in this like theory bubble. So we use the puppets to talk, right? Because that will help bring out our emotions because it's not us direct or something goofy like that, right?
And when he pulls it out, she says, "Oh, something like, oh, Dad, not again." And he just forces it
not
upon her.
Public, not here.
Yeah, not here. Like so you know that this has been going on for years.
Yeah,
with the kids. And
you can even see the puppets beforehand, above the fireplace on the mantle.
Oh my gosh!
One for all of them.
There you go. The foreshadowing. See, it's stuff like that. The whole film is so brilliant like that. Like you said, it flies by so fast. But the other irony is that it doesn't. Even though it's a whole farce and it's a comedy and you're laughing the whole way, it doesn't feel unreal. The whole damn thing feels like it's almost a documentary.
It feels so relatable. Again,
right.
Both characters in different aspects of your life, right? And Like
Right.
he's got a. Is that a first gen Game Boy? I had one of those. Sweet. I hope he's playing
be,
the
yeah.
Ninja Turtles. There we go. See, look, he's on the dock. He hasn't realized yet that he's standing around the water. So
Around
it's
the
like
wall, yeah.
the first moment where you really see him like kind of starting to forget one of his phobias.
That's right.
Okay, but now he realized he's like, oh, you're gonna dive off the dock.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I'm gonna do that. And they're watching.
Yeah. They're always there too. You notice that whenever there's a dock scene, those guys are always out there.
Yeah, there he is.
Hanging
He
out,
pushes
fishing,
him in the water.
fishing outside their house that was supposed to be theirs.
And this is the first scene where you really start to see Leo crack, because the old couple are watching. And he says, "I have every right to buy this house." He's starting to get mad. He's starting to get pissed off.
Yeah.
His professional, I'm a therapist, I can control myself, composure is just starting to crack now.
Yeah, he's starting to lose. Yeah, and by this point, Bob has been, up on his back so much. He's going nuts.
Yeah.
Which is this. Well, and that's actually that all points to what happens toward the end. I don't know how far you're gonna show folks what happens here. Don't show them all the spoilers, but
Yeah.
just realize that you're right. We're seeing the progression there with this guy right here, that he's losing it too.
Yeah. Oh, and this sequence here, the dinner sequence, is so beautiful.
I know, I love this.
I think we'll go to about when we won't show the third act. Let's just say that we won't show the third act.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
Good call. Let the audience. That's the savoring act. That's the payoff for all of this crap. Huge payoff.
He starts choking. Bob saves his life.
Yeah, that was so awesome. And now he owes him. You know it?
I know.
Oh my God.
And afterwards, everyone's having fun in the kitchen, singing, and he's just there watching, being a grouch.
They're throwing the plates. They're cleaning the plates and throwing them, and I'm thinking, oh my God.
I don't want to be the party pooper, but I think it's time for Bob to go home now.
Right.
No one listens. He has to scream it. I think it's time for Bob to go home now. It just starts pissing raining. Just classic. When you're like on summer vacation, you always get those thunderstorms that roll in. I love those nights, but oh man, Bob can't leave. And I love just the whole universe is just keeping Bob at his house.
Right? And he threatens to put him out in his wicker. It's like, he can go home with a wicker.
Yeah. And then the great.
That's a great scene.
Yeah. So Bob has had the bonding with the daughter. Now he has the bonding scene with the son, and it's so great. And actually, even like look at the framing here. Like there's thought put into how these shots are framed, and you definitely feel Frank Oz in this scene. This shot here, this whole sequence, I feel is very Frank Oz. Kind of like, I don't want to say like kind of almost like fantasy lighting. It's really neat.
It is, yeah. It's the way the light falls on the kid's face, and then in the background is Bob, and they're both in focus at the same time.
Yeah,
you can tell perspective.
Yeah, and it's a good depth of field, and and then hard shadows, and it's a very almost fantasy-like sequence, like just how the lighting's done and the framing.
And as for direction, that would actually be their second bonding scene, wouldn't it? Didn't they have the? Would they? They had the jump scene first. The diving scene was first, right before that, and so they're really starting to become buddies now. Oh, and then then their third bonding scene coming up later in the morning.
Oh, I love it. I was like, if we don't have if I fake it, then I don't have it. Right. Like pretending to have Tourette's.
Right, the Tourette's, yes.
Yeah, pulling the Eric Cartman before Eric Cartman was even around.
Oh, that's hilarious. That scene is hilarious. Oh my God.
Bob. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
He's just like shaking him so hard. He's having a human earthquake. And
his alarm goes off.
Yeah, boom.
2 seconds later and wakes up.
This right there. Oh, remember that one?
Yes. And then
he's yelling up to the stairs.
Right here, the TV, the studio, the Good Morning America's here. and they drag Bob into it, and there's the cuts on his chin from shaving. Again, such perfect, all these little details, comedic details. And then it's how about we put Bob in the shot too? And it's like all the directors want Bob to be in the shot, and just of course he chokes once he's on live TV, completely chokes. And like here, look at this framing. This is so great. Like, look how small they make Dr. Leo Marvin look.
That's a good point.
And look how big Bob is, right? Bob is such a big presence. Yeah, it's just like, again, it's just so brilliantly done. And it really just, this is called filmmaking, ladies and gentlemen. This is called filmmaking, where you inform the audience through just blocking, right? Like, you just simply through blocking.
And then later, in the later part of that thing, they reverse. And now Bob, their locations reverse. Bob is in the chair, and he's the center of the interview. And it just, the whole thing flips, and it just sends Dr. Marvin even further down his own rabbit hole of torture.
Because they stand up there, and then of course he's talking directly to Bob, so he sits down, and then the directors tell him, sit down.
yes. He's like, oh wow, he's looking over there away from the camera. I remember when the camera crew first started coming up, I thought I couldn't remember. I knew that they were coming into it, but I couldn't remember how the whole thing all unfolded. And so it was almost like a fresh new look at the thing again. And I knew we were going to get this, and you can anticipate somehow Bob is going to be in this interview. But the way that this whole thing played out was absolutely brilliant.
It's really so fluid, and it plays out so naturally.
So excellent.
And now he's just so mad that he's not even going to come down for the picture at the end.
Right. He's like, no, I don't want to be in the picture. He's gritting his teeth.
And this is funny because I'll say I love this because this is definitely, we've all had this moment too, right? When you've been upstaged, everyone's having a good time, but you're sour. Come join. And you're like, no. Even though it's like totally for your benefit to join, but you become your own worst enemy, right?
Yeah. The biggest fake smile you can imagine right there.
Oh, it's so great. And this is, get out. Gone? He's not gone. He's never gone.
He's never
the
gone.
Door. Bob's right there.
Oh, that's one of my favorite
something
scenes.
I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I said.
I love, he's like a puppy dog here in the car waiting to go for a ride.
Right. He's so excited. This is when they're going off to the funny farm.
Yeah. Takes him to the funny farm. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure you'll agree with me to have him committed within like 10 minutes. Drives all the way back home.
Yeah, that laugh there on the way back home is just evil.
Straight evil. He's so happy. And the music here starts to go. Obviously, the music wasn't done by Danny Elfman, but the music here starts to do that like late 80s fantasy Danny Elfman feel where things are getting a little weird and like la 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 la, little disjointed. Kind of like the opening of like Scrooge at la 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 la.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get.
Go ahead.
They really like, again, like even for like a simple comedy like this, like the soundtrack is great, right? Like that's one thing I've really noticed that's dipped in quality in cinema is the soundtracks. Like,
and another channel was actually just talking about that the other night, and I even commented on it too as I was listening. I said. Imagine any of your favorite sci-fi movies with just the dialogue and the sound effects, but no soundtrack. Your favorite ones, they would suck. Right?
Yeah, it would lose all their power.
There's a lot of emotion
like this,
right? And even a movie like this, there's a whole lot of emotion that gets pulled in by the soundtrack that drives the viewers' emotions in the background that they may not necessarily be aware of, and in some cases it's very obvious, like Star Wars and Star Trek, where the music, the soundtrack is actually a character in the film.
It's very bombastic, and it's and sometimes it's very subtle.
Right, and it can be very much in almost all cases. However, the soundtrack is playing out during such films, it can really help drive the whole film, if not every single scene. This music here, by the way, was done by Miles Goodman. Actually, Elliot Miles Goodman is his entire name. And he also worked with Frank Oz on Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and House Sitter, which the movie was. House Sitter was after this, the next year after this, and Little Shop of Horrors, 1986.
Oh,
It's the
damn.
same guy.
Little Shop of Horrors is a great soundtrack, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wonderful musical.
Right.
And House Sitter, I've actually seen House Sitter a few times. Steve Martin. That's actually a pretty
right.
Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn.
And yeah, and that's actually an interesting soundtrack. The soundtrack is actually what sticks out the most in my mind when I think about it.
That's interesting. Well, same guy here with that one and this one and Scoundrels and Little Shop of Horrors. That's just brilliant. That's another thing.
Frank Oz has himself a good team. Like he's worked with Bill Murray. He's worked with Bill Murray a couple of times. He's worked with Steve Martin a bunch of times. So he rounds up good people.
Yeah, and you see that too, where you've got a good team of people, and they consistently, at least let's say the peak of one's career, they consistently put out good product after good product. It's like John Williams has how many incredible soundtracks to his credit, and he's had quite a huge career. But that's probably the most extreme example of someone's success. But I see that a lot with good soundtrack authors.
And of course, here's Bob, and he's all the staff absolutely love him, and he's like, no. Dr. Leo Marvin's like, no, he's a brilliant narcissist, a brilliant psychopath, he's fooled you. And she's just like, me and my entire staff, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then I love it because then when he gets so agitated that she starts talking to him like, do you need some help? Do you?
He's got them all. Bob's got everyone, the whole staff, eating out of his hand, and they're laughing.
Yeah.
He's got jokes for him. And
Leo, do you want to check in for a couple of days? I mean, we know there's been a lot of stress on you. It's
yeah,
great.
That was funny. When I saw that too, I thought, this must have. You can imagine Bob goes in there, and the first thing he does is he starts talking to there's two guys that are taking him away in what's ultimately you think is going to put him in a straitjacket.
Yeah,
two white guys in lab coats that take him away right away, and you figure that he's first going to start talking to them and making them laugh, and then they just kind of settle down and go, this guy's we're nothing afraid of him. We'll just let him stand here while we're starting processing, and then there's probably a secretary there, and he starts talking to her. And pretty soon, 3 or 4 people just walk over, and pretty soon you got half the staff sitting there, and he's got them all eating out of his hand with these jokes.
It's great jokes. It's like she shows him a bunch of like that. What's that blot test? I forget what that's called. And it's like, what do you see here?
That Rorschach test or something like that.
Yeah. And what do you see here? Sex. And this one, sex. You seem to be thinking about sex a lot. What are you talking about, Doc? You're the one with the dirty pictures.
Yeah, right. And he's got a roses are red, violets are blue. I won't say the joke. We'll leave that one for the audience.
Yeah.
He's got a great roses are red, violets are blue joke in there.
And then, of course, Leo drops him off, and then this is his nightmare. Bob gets picked up by somebody, of course.
Yeah,
you got to be home at 6.
And he gets over. No, this is sad. This whole
it's
part
so sad.
It's just it's such a mess.
Gets a ticket, gets a flat tire, gets sprayed by mud, and I'm home. And this is where we'll leave it. I'm not going to show beyond this point.
Okay.
Because if you you got to watch the ending for yourself.
Yeah, by this point, I really did start to feel sorry for Dr. Marvin because you're right. He's his own worst enemy. He brought this all upon himself, his own narcissism, being a complete jackass.
Yeah.
It was great.
All right. And I'm going to show my top 5 gags from What About Bob now. Let's see what we got here. Yes. Yeah. Glad you're enjoying it, Rod. We're going to go over our top gags now. Hopefully you share some of them too. My first gag is this one, and I think we're on par with this one.
Yes.
Choosing the book. Oh, there's a book that just came out. It's so great. It's so perfectly delivered, and it just encapsulates his character wonderfully. My second favorite gag, actually, this is just in orders they appear.
Yeah, sure.
Next is the corn sequence.
Yes.
It's so annoying. It's so wonderful. It's just He's enjoying dinner so much. And again, you can see the medical hospital bracelet. It's always there. I love
Yes,
it.
always there. Yeah.
And he's just and it's just annoying Dr. Leo Marvin so much. Would you stop that?
Yes. The kid thinks it's funny.
Yeah,
He's
of
laughing.
course, the family loves it.
Yeah.
Then next is, of course, the whole TV interview,
Oh,
perfectly
man.
staged,
Just-
perfectly, flows wonderfully. It's comedic genius, this whole sequence, and they play
Yeah.
off each other so amazing. Then next we have just gone. You think he's gone? He's never gone. Opens the door. He's standing right on the porch.
He says something. Is this some kind of abandonment therapy? Somebody's that's
Yeah.
what I thought of. Is this some kind of abandonment? Is this some kind of a new strange therapy?
Yeah. Stoicism says our mind is what can torture us the most.
Yes.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Welcome to my everyday. And then last one is, we were just talking about it. Yeah, the whole sequence going home.
Man.
Just wonderful. Drops Bob off. Get out of the car. Just starts driving home. Gets pulled over by the cop. Sees Bob go by, getting a lift from just some local. After he gets the ticket, tries to reverse out of his park job. Hits like a sharp rock. Punctures his tire. Gets sprayed by the mud. Oh, it's so great.
This is like
And
karma.
the mud makes sense because the night before was a rainstorm. Hey, there we
That's
go. So that
right.
works in.
Look at that. How about that? Brilliant.
Yeah. Things make sense. I love a script where things make sense. It's wonderful.
It's a lost art, it seems.
Yeah. It seems to be beyond the grasp of most filmmakers these days.
That whole sequence of the flat tire thing really seemed like karma coming back to bite him on the ass all at once. Just like one
100%.
bang, 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 bang. It just didn't stop until the very end where you stopped it. I mean, that was just it was just brilliant.
Yes, and we're not going to spoil the ending because it is a fantastic. All right. So what would we say would be your top 5 gags?
The number one thing I love is the sailing, just because the whole scene of it is just so great to see that he's sailing. You can tell he's sailing, and then when it pans out and you see that he's strapped to the mast, and I was just thinking, oh my God, for whose protection is this, right? I just love that one. I love the.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably more for the comfort of the people on the boat than it is for Bob.
Yeah, right. And he's having a great time. He doesn't realize he's a prisoner of this boat. They just strapped him into this thing so that for their own safety, and he just thinks it's great.
Yeah.
But also not to mention not to forget that he's afraid of water too. So it probably is for everyone's safety all around. Obviously, but I just love that one. I love in the opening scene when he walks up to his fish and says, "Good morning, Gil." Good morning,
So
Gil.
cute.
He's treating him like a little person. It's so funny. It's so endearing.
It's so cute, and the fish has a starring role. He's
he's a minor character in this thing.
Yeah,
he gets a few scenes.
He's the whole right here on the opening credits. He's like the whole opening credit sequence is the fish swimming around the credits. So
That's right.
He's a big player. He's a major player.
Yeah. He gets his water change scene later on.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's been traveling for about 8 hours. I'm pretty sure he's exhausted and he's hungry. I love the and then of course I love that the fact that he strapped him. I didn't recognize it right away. I'd forgotten he strapped him around his neck, and when I finally saw that again and realized that, I thought, oh my God, that's so cute. I love the scene where when Bob first meets Dr. Marvin and he's listing all of his paranoias. So I really should have wrote those down, but that's right. I'm going to go write those down anyway, just so I have them in some kind of a script. Maybe I'll put them on my Twitter that this is my new title.
It's such a fun little monologue. Yeah,
it's so great.
All his ailments and paranoias and phobias.
And some of them are pretty legit, and others just seem like they're completely ludicrous. But is the way you think about it, he's synchronizing these things in his mind is according to value and importance.
And it's something he recites all the time, every time he meets a doctor.
Yes, right. Yeah, right. He knows he's got these things down. I like the quote about the Neil Diamond quote. I had that on my list. The eating corn at the dinner table.
Yeah, we share that one.
Right.
We got the
Yeah, and the TV interview, of course, and the hand puppets. That was the hand puppets was almost it was a little bit I don't know how do I say it kind of surprised me, jolting a little bit to see that, because you start to see you almost start to feel the psychology coming through the film itself and thinking, whoa, what's going on here?
It's even how like he introduces the puppet and it comes around her shoulder. And it's like,
Yeah.
Anna.
Yeah.
It's like so.
It was
it's
creepy.
so- yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. And
Yeah.
I almost forgot to share a great line right here. I love this delivery when he's just starting to go nuts.
Relax, Leo.
I'm relaxed.
Take a vacation.
I'm on vacation.
That's,
Oh man.
that scene there is like the motto for my life. On vacation for me is never vacation.
Yeah, right. Me too. Yeah, I'm not very. It takes me the first 7 days just to start to relax. The first 7 days is not a vacation. It's more like paranoia. That left the comforts of home and everything that you know that you need around you for your day-to-day work,
Yeah.
chores, etc. Yeah, this film just seems to be something that's got so much going on for it that it just necessitates a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 watches, just so you can stop laughing at all the stuff and catch new jokes.
Yeah, it's and it's
just
start
everywhere.
to finish. It's start to finish funny because like there's a lot of
Yes.
comedies I find where it's like I'll give a perfect example like the movie Liar Liar. The opening act is not very funny. It's kind of dull. Middle act's hilarious, and then the third act is sappy. There's a lot of comedies that will fall into that where it's like 1 or 2 acts are funny and one has to be like the wrap up but this is funny throughout. First,
Yeah.
second, third act, hilarious, and they're all hilarious, and that's a pretty rare film in my opinion. Is a good comedy that just holds the laughter from start to finish.
Right.
It's so great.
Yeah, my guess is that it's attributable to certainly the director first of all, but then a great cast who is listening to the director, likes what they're doing, and then you've got the dissonance between the two primary actors, Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss, do not like each other. It's written that they have not spoken since this film to each other
It
till
just
this day.
seems so perfect.
Yeah.
It was life informing art. It was
Yeah.
life informing art, and it bled
Right.
out onto this movie. But luckily, it elevated this film because that's the whole theme of this movie is how much.
Right.
Yeah. Richard Dreyfuss hates him, and it's just so great. But I do want to do before we finish today. I almost forgot. Since I am in Japan, and since I am a teacher, we have to study some Japanese. Okay, are you ready,
Nice.
Mr. Shakespeare? Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
All right. So, where did they go in this movie? They go to his summer house. So, what is summer house in Japanese? Let's watch and learn. Oh my goodness, I realized I just did the wrong one.
Oh.
That's for the next stream. Well, there are 2 words today.
That's
So
all
that
right.
was travel, Ryoko. But what is summer house? So Beso is summer house.
Beso.
So, William Shakespeare, do you have your beso?
Well, I was going to say in Chinese, "wonbeo beso," but you can't really do that. That would be illegal. No, I
Yeah.
wonbeo beso.
Good
That would be
television.
a mix of the two. No, I do not have my summer house. I'm going to have to work on that.
Yeah, me too. I'm still I'm still working on having a first house. That's also one thing that's kind of interesting. And actually, I actually want to do like a longer video about this. Is watching movies from the 80s and 90s is the difference of like what could be obviously Dr. Leo Marvin's, I'd say, more than middle class. He's like entering higher class, but still, as a working professional, people were actually like having second homes and stuff, and like the idea of that now is like so far out of the grasp of like 90% of the working population.
Yeah, really. Yeah, you're right. People can't even buy their first home these days. It's getting so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, like I'm still renting here in Japan, but oh well.
So now that you've brought the two words together, could you just put them together? Ryoku Boso. I'm saying it wrong already. Can you just say that? Travel to my summer house.
Ryoku Beso?
Yeah,
That would be
that?
travel. You could say, let's see. Kyou boku wa beso ni ryoku shi ni ikimasu. I'm going to be traveling to my summer house. Maybe.
I see. Like I was close then, right?
Yeah. There we go. And Rod, I always appreciate a smiley face. Thank you. I gotta have Rod on this show one day. I've watched him a few times. I've watched him a few times with Canadian Spider-Man. It's always fun.
Yeah,
listening to Rod.
Rod's a great co-host. He's fantastic. Yeah. A lot of fun. And he's got the right idea. Ryoku Television.
Ryoku Television. Yes. There we go.
Yes, there it is.
The travel TV with the real Canadian Spider-Man. That should be his name. You're right. Yeah.
We'll have a copy written by the end of the weekend.
There we go. Yep.
Trademark.
He's off. He's off to the. Oh, geez. And now, right at the end of the show, my brain's just going to start flubbing. It is early in the morning here, people. He's off to the Notary Public. The Notary Public.
The Notary Republic.
I always say the Republic. The Notary
Why
Republic.
Not? Sounds better anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it makes it sound much more official.
Yes, it does. Plus,
you went to the Notary Public. I went to the Notary Republic. God damn it.
Right.
They get things done.
Right. They have rifles and guns there at the Republic.
Yes. And they got a guy with a vest of medals and a big hat.
That's right. Yes.
Oh God. Well, so yeah, for everyone that's been listening, obviously 100% recommend this movie. I don't throw this out very often. I know it seems strange, especially for a comedy, but I give this a 10 out of 10. I think this is like essentially a perfect script. Again, everything is set up and paid off. I love the direction. It's subtle, but it has a style. And just the comedy hits. Like I can't think of like jokes that don't land in this movie. Like everything lands. And obviously the performances are just amazing. So if you haven't seen this film, 100%, please watch it. How about you, William Shakespeare? What would be your final rating on this film?
I agree. I give it a 10 out of 10. It was wonderful from beginning to end. The laughs do not stop all the way to the very end. I mean, literally the last scene, you're still just going, this thing never ends, man. It's just an incredible incredible payoffs all the way along, just as you were talking about. A lot of foreshadowing from the very opening scene all the way down to the very end. Definitely worth multiple rewatches, and I'm sure that I'll pick up more of it along the way every single time.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say, oh yeah.
Also, did you happen to see the notes I sent you about there's all the budgeting and the financials that you guys can find on IMDb, but I did some calculations on what it would cost today. Do you want to?
Okay, yeah, just tell how much would it cost today, adjusted for inflation?
So adjusted for inflation, the money spent on this thing was $90 million, which you got to imagine was mostly salary. That's
definitely salary for the actors, yeah.
Right. It would have pulled in on today's numbers $21.2 million at the box office. During its, I think that's the opening weekend actually.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's opening weekend. USA and Canada pulled in $21.2 million, and the worldwide gross
during its Rod. Love to you too, man.
Worldwide gross during its theatrical run was $147 million.
So it did
So it seems like it would have made money, and that would have been before it went to a home theater, which, even though this movie didn't get all the credit that it deserved and kind of went under the
Yeah.
radar, home theater was just peaking for years during and after this time. So it probably had a pretty good amount of sales.
Yeah, I know, because like I remember we had our VHS copy. Yes. And Miss Comman, man, I think you'll have a good weekend if you're watching What About Bob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yes. All right, guys. Well, the family's getting up, and it's time for me to start doing my daddy stuff. It's just past 7 in the morning here in Japan. So, William Shakespeare Spielberg, thank you so much for being on, and I hope to have you on again.
Awesome. I appreciate you having me on, and this was a lot of fun.
Great. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, remember, please share, please like and comment, and yeah, just enjoy. And have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Like, share, subscribe.
Did you hear that?